Welcome back to Inside the Machine, the podcast where we go beyond the results and the headlines to understand what's actually happening between the driver and the car. Today's guest is Enzo Fittipaldi, a driver who has raced across some of the most technically demanding categories in motorsport, from winning the Italian Formula 4 Championship in 2018 to competing in FIA Formula 3 and Formula 2, now making the move to Indy NXT. Ensar has experienced very different philosophies of race car design and driving. But instead of focusing on results or career milestones, this conversation is about something deeper, what these cars actually feel like to drive. We're going to talk about the technical differences between F2, Indy NXT, and endurance prototypes like the LMP2, and how drivers communicate feedback to engineers, and how things like aerodynamics, tire behavior, braking systems, and mechanical grip completely change the way driver approaches a limit. So today we're really trying to understand what it feels like inside the machine. So Enzo, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think it's been like about like 1 or 2 years since we last saw each
Yeah,
other.
two
Yeah,
years.
so yeah, it's very nice to speak to you here again and
Yeah,
be on this great podcast. And yeah, I think it's
thank
a
you.
super cool topic that we're gonna be able to talk about today, and dive into these different series that I have driven and the
Yeah.
differences from one car to another, and from endurance racing to open wheel racing. I think it's very interesting, and yeah,
hmm
let's go
I
for it.
I think that's what makes you like such a great, well, driver also in general, the all the experience you've had in every
Yes.
category. So,
Yeah.
well, first of all, I want to start with a really important question. So, why did you choose number 67 for this season? Is
Oh, well,
it, is it sentimental?
yeah, no, that's a good question. Like, actually, that's funny because I had many fans this weekend in the last race that I
Yeah,
came at the St. Pete race.
say Petersburg. Yeah.
Yeah, we were racing the streets of St. Pete, and a lot of fans were coming to my car and filming like next to the car and doing like this,
Yeah.
and then I'm just like, oh, that's I didn't expect it. Like, I just like the number 67, and then I saw that, there's this really uh thing going around with the number, a trend, I
Yeah.
guess. And yeah, it's pretty
Um,
funny. My lucky number's always been 7. I had
yeah.
two options this season, either to race with number 66 or number 67. So I chose number
Yeah.
67, and yeah, it's a very cool number, and it definitely comes with a lot of attention now, that
Yeah.
number.
I honestly thought you did it because of the meme, but
No, no, I had
no.
only two options. I had like number 66 and number 67. So I went with 67 because my lucky number is 7. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought you did it for the memes, and I'm like, this guy's a goat,
yeah,
bro.
I know.
But you still
Yeah,
are.
I know. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to do some funny video with that, with the race
Yeah.
suit and everything. So it's gonna be coming
Yeah,
soon,
okay.
coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
I'll see it. So, well, now a bit more of the technical aspects. So, when, like like we've said, you were in the Formula ladder. So you went from karting to Formula 4 in the driver academy, in the Ferrari academy, to Formula 3 and Formula 2. And then you jumped categories. So, what shocked you the most technically when jumping from that ladder that's very like consecutive, not to
Yeah.
the other series?
Yeah, I think like there's the road to F1, which is F4, F3, F2, and then you hopefully reach Formula One, right? That's everyone's
hmm
goal. For me, it's always been, I always had like the dream of Formula One, but also one of my biggest dreams, I think, always since child, because I was born and raised in the US, has always been the Indy
hmm
500. So
Really?
the Indy 500 has always been in my mind. Like, yeah, Formula One was a dream of mine.
hmm
But I think the Indy 500 for me was something bigger because that was something that I would watch when I was younger,
Yeah.
especially living in the States, and my family, also having a big history in that race, and in
hmm
IndyCar in general. So yeah, the move honestly was it is just a dream of mine to be here racing in the US, and being able to compete with open wheel cars on road courses, street courses,
Yeah.
and ovals,
Oh, well.
because I love oval racing. I've always
Yeah.
been very passionate about oval racing. I used to do oval racing when I was like 11, 12 years old with these cars called Bandoleros and Legend cars. And
Mm-hmm.
so, it's something that I've always loved. So to be able to, do open wheel racing and do all road courses, street courses, ovals, it's very nice as a driver.
Yeah.
You get all these different experiences, and that's for me as a racing driver is my passion. So yeah, being here was a big change because I was on the road to F1. I did F4 won championship, F3 won many races and podiums, F2 as well, was very successful, winning many races and many podiums.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with F2 is like the funnel is very, very, it gets tighter and tighter as
Yeah.
you get closer to F1. So
Exactly.
it's either really a hit or miss. It's very difficult to
Yeah.
reach Formula One because there's only 20 seats in the grid, and there's more than 20 drivers that I think deserve to be there.
Yeah.
So at the end, what ends up becoming, or what ends up giving you the shot to race in Formula One, I think first is sponsorship and being at the right time at the right place. I think you've seen many times in F2 where a driver wins the championship, but then there's no seat
Yeah. Spots
available.
for them.
So
Yeah.
he could end up staying 1 year without racing anything,
Mm-hmm.
and either he goes to F1 or the teams just forget about him. So um,
Mm-hmm.
it is just the way it is. It's always been like that. It's very difficult to make it. So I respect massively every
Yeah.
driver that makes it all the way there. It's obviously the pinnacle of motorsports. So I think for every
Mm-hmm.
driver, one of their dreams for sure is to race in Formula One. But for me, just as Formula One has been my dream, Indy 500, Indy car has also been a big dream of mine. So I'm super happy to be here in the US, racing in the road to Indy. I'm doing a year of Indy NXT, which is like Indy Lights,
Yeah.
um, to learn the tracks. Street courses is gonna be my first time running on ovals. And yeah, we are very fast. We're very unfortunate in this last race with a small mistake in
Yeah. I saw.
qualifying. But we would have definitely been fighting up there at the front. And luckily, we have a next race in Arlington, Texas, in about a week in the streets of Arlington, which is going to be a very crazy street course. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's still very early in the season and still, I think,
Yeah.
16
There's
races to go. So,
a long way to go.
yeah, a long way.
Well, technically, like in terms of like literally technique
Yes.
of the cars and the actual mechanical and engineering part. Well, or the
Yeah.
driving part in your in your case, what's different about the cars?
The difference, I think, from the US to Europe, the cars and stuff, technically first are the tires, right? In the US, we use
Mm,
Firestone tires in the Road to
yeah.
Indy, which is very different to what you're used to in Europe when you use Pirelli tires. So Firestone tires are a type of tire where you go out on track and basically the warm up is you drive to the grip or you just push. You kind of like there's not really a warm up procedure. You just
Mm-hmm.
drive and the lap time just keeps getting better and better and
Better.
better. And it's more like the fuel effect is a bigger difference in
Really.
Road to Indy than the tire
Mm-hmm.
degradation. Okay. In F2 or F3, it's all about tire prep with Pirelli. So it's all about tire warm up, the way you prep the tire. So your warm up, the amount of brakes you do down the straight, the amount of weaves, about as well not over slipping the tire because you can damage the surface, especially with the Pirelli tires on a cold track, easy
Mm-hmm.
to get like cold graining, I remember. So it is very different the way you approach it. I feel like in a race weekend as a driver, when I was racing in F2 with the team, we would speak a lot more about tire prep, and getting the tires in the window for that one push lap.
Yeah.
Uh, Much more than like in a one race weekend than we do in the whole season here in Indy NXT. Like we don't even,
Really.
yeah, we
It's
speak
not.
more about just driving and improving your driving as a driver, like braking and everything,
Yeah.
lines, than in Formula Two where it was massively
It
about
was all about the tires.
tire
Yeah.
prep, and yeah, it really is a big challenge there in F2, and for teams to understand uh, how the tires work and what setup works better for these tires, and it changes every track. It's very complicated. Um, and yeah, there's been many qualifyings in F2. I remember when I was
Yeah.
in 2023 with Carlin, we qualified on the front row, I think like 3 or 4 times, and I remember in free practice we were struggling, and then we went to the soft compound in qualifying, and we had very little pace in free practice. Go to the soft compound, and boom, we were there like half a tenth
Yeah.
off. And then the team was like, "Oh, what was different?" Like, what I just said, well, it just had more grip.
Yeah.
So it was not like it wasn't like I drove better, you know. It was
It
just
was. It's all about
simply
the
all because
tires.
of the tires. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the team would also not really understand like, oh, I guess it worked. Like we
Yeah.
it was kind of
Y-
like a bit of a gamble. Like you can kind of see in F2 which teams understand it better than others.
Mhm.
Like I think Virtuosi really knows very well what they're doing. Um, and some teams struggle a lot, you know, and you even see like in Formula 3, Trident is dominating, and they have a whole warm-up procedure that the drivers have to follow, and they really like push the drivers to do exactly what they need to do to get the performance out of the Pirellis. So
Mhm.
yeah, you'll see in the feeder series. That's why there's like the top teams like Trident in F3, Prema, and these teams will cost more to race because they just have better engineers or better
Yeah.
information to arrive better prepared for the race weekend, which you know can really change your junior career.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
even sometimes in F1, like when I watch the races, it's oh yeah, the medium's supposed to go like this, but then it's suddenly the hard is way better than the medium because it doesn't, it's going faster and it's degrading slower, which teams don't understand, but it
no,
just suddenly
yeah,
happens.
yeah, it's the
Even like
same. Yeah, it's the same
even
in
at the
F1.
top.
Like people don't. It is very tough. Like this thing about the tires, it's very complicated.
Hmm.
And I think there is some engineers that really understand it, but because every year they change a bit the way the compound is and stuff, so it's challenging for the teams. It is a challenge, which makes it fun, you know. It makes it more
Yeah.
difficult. It's fun when it's going well for you, you know. If
Yeah.
your team is struggling to figure
It's
it
not
out,
that fun.
then it's not that fun, no.
And well, with the new in the in this season of Indy Next and IndyCar, they put the new Inlitin technology. I don't know how to pronounce it
Yeah, the
into the
extract
tires.
gearbox. Oh, and
No, the Inlitin.
okay.
So, I don't know if you know about it. Or
No, I haven't heard about it.
that.
Maybe,
Well,
yeah, it's
I was
fine.
gonna ask you because I don't know that much either
Yeah,
about it. But I
yeah, I
think
know
it
that they
was.
did something, but I don't know. My team didn't really. We didn't
Yeah.
talk too much about it.
Okay. No, I was gonna ask you if it affected a lot or a little, but
Yeah.
if you don't know, it clearly doesn't really.
No, I don't think.
I don't
What
think it
is it
does.
like? Some new type of pressure, or like for the tire pressure, or
I don't know. It was something for the sustainability, but also for the tires, a new compound that's more sustainable. And I don't know if it changed
okay?
something, but
I did hear about something about that. I think it's been very minimal.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
because
yeah. Did I? You're
well,
right. They did do something. Yeah,
yeah, because I remember reading about it, but I
yeah,
wasn't too sure if it maybe it affected a lot, or but
yeah, or
clearly
not.
tires aren't that
Yeah.
important. And
No, for sure. And like no, like in IndyCar and stuff. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. No, for sure. Like the teams, yeah. Sometimes one set could feel a little bit better than the other, depending on how you bring it in or how you treat it. You know, as well. Tire pressures really make a difference. So yeah, for sure, tires will always be a huge factor in any
yeah,
series. I mean,
in
because
any racing,
the tires are the only things that is connecting the car to the ground.
the
You know,
ground.
so. Yeah, tires will always be, I think, the most important aspect for
Hmm.
a race car. It's the only thing that's in contact with the asphalt. So, yeah, in any series you do, like pressures, the way you run the car, this and that will affect the way the tires come in. And Yeah, we still talk about it in IndyCar and stuff, but it's a lot less.
Yeah, less, well, yeah, less important. It's not
Yeah,
that
less
it's not
important.
important,
Yeah,
but
not
it's
as
less important.
yes.
And well, you also raised the LMP2s in Daytona, right? So
Yes.
how do the tires also differ there, like the strategy? Because there, I'm guessing each set you can't push that hard because you want to make it last longer too, right? You can't punish the tires so much.
That's correct. Yeah. So with endurance racing, it's very different to what I was used to, you know. So it's like
Hmm.
you kind of have to approach the race basically like, oh, we're, gonna keep the car clean for the first 20 hours and then we're gonna fight in the last 3, 4 hours. Like, obviously, you
Hmm.
want to have good pace, but you're really not trying to risk at all the first 18, 19 hours because, man, you get damage on hour 3, hour 4, forget
Yeah,
it.
and
You're
then
gonna you're
it's
ruined. Yeah, it's
over.
very hard to recover. If you go to like repair the car, you end up losing, I don't know, 10, 15 laps, and that's kind of what happened with us. Unfortunately, on hour 3, my teammate didn't see a GT coming out of the pits, and he just tapped him on the side, and it created a massive hole on our diffuser and our side pod, and we couldn't fix it because if we would fix it, we would lose like 30 laps. So we had to do like
Yeah,
the next 20 hours with this massive hole on our side pod,
which is
which was
just
causing
horrible.
us horrible because we had more drag on the straights and less downforce in
Yeah,
the corners, and it would we were losing like a second a lap on lap time. So
that's
yeah,
and it's 20 hours of this, so
20
yeah.
hours. So yeah, we ruined our chances of even fighting for top 5, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, you really have to change the way you approach a race. You have to be more gentle with the tires on the first laps, knowing that you could end up triple stinting on a tire. So you're gonna do like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 75 laps on a set of tires, which, man, yeah. So you really have to be gentle, drive smooth, not overslip the tires,
Hmm.
and really take care of it very well. So it is a very different approach. Endurance racing is really cool, I think, as well for the engineers on the engineering side because there's a lot of things the engineers can control with fuel consumption, gaps to next cars, and just whole strategy. There's so many pit stops, so it's a very fun race, very different as well how us drivers have to manage our body and our training before a race. So it's everything changes
I
quite a lot.
was, yeah, I was
Yeah,
just gonna ask you about that. Well, first you all said about the steering, how you need to be more delicate with it, right? So I'm guessing, well, which category do you need to be more precise and smoother with the inputs?
I think for sure endurance racing. Like
Yeah.
with an LMP2, I mean for sure when you're doing a race stint and you know you're going to be doing a double or maybe even a triple, you really have to take care of the tires cuz like if they drop off, it's hard to recover and then it's kind of like a snowball effect. You start having a lot of traction issues and then that makes everything worse, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think for sure endurance racing is at the top. Then you have F2 over here and then Indy next over here. So F2 was also very, very big with managing tires in a race. I was actually really good on race stints. I've always been really good at managing tires.
Yeah.
So there was many races in F2 where I would start, I don't know, like in the back and I would finish on the podium. I think I did that like at least 7 or 8 times in
Yeah.
my F2 career where I started outside the top 15 and I ended up finishing on the podium in the feature race. I was very good at managing the slip and just managing the tires and making them last longer than they should or planned, which
Yeah.
would help our whole
Which,
strategy. So
yeah.
yeah,
And well, you also said that endurance, you approach it very differently when training for it, right? Like, um, so what's the most physical series too? What do you say?
I think endurance. Yeah, I think endurance would probably be the most physical for hydration, um,
Mhm.
and then the most physical for like muscle wise and stuff would probably be IndyCar or Indy Next. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because there's not really a big drop off on the tires. So you
Hmm.
kind of like you can kind of push
all the time.
95% every lap, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the grip kind of never really goes away, so the steering is pretty heavy. So it's kind of like a constant pushing for 30 laps, where in F2, you're like 5 seconds slower in a race. So you're
Yeah.
kind of like the steering is much lighter in the race, and it's not that physical. Uh,
I wouldn't I would
yeah.
have thought it was more endurance because even though because of well of the longer stints, I'm guessing like even if it isn't that fast, still having to go 2, 3, even 4 hours sometimes in the just driving, I would have thought was way more tiring.
Yeah, I
Or
mean it is, but like the thing is with like the P2 and stuff, there's power steering. So
hmm
the steering is like super light. So the biggest thing with the P2, I'd say, is just it's very hot inside the car. So if you're not hydrated, then you really start getting a lot of cramps, and
yeah,
like you have to stay ahead of your hydration. So already start, you know, having hydration stuff days before, a lot
days.
of sodium. So you already start like loading your body before the race. So
hmm
that's something that we do with our trainers and stuff to prepare for an endurance race. But then on the physical aspect, the IndyCar, Indy NXT, like the steering is just so heavy
Yeah,
that you need to have muscle to power through it in a race. So yeah, I'd say that's the
I wouldn't
biggest difference.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought. And well, for you, which one's the most fun to drive? Like, which one do you enjoy the most?
Um, I love open wheel, so I think any open wheel car I
Yeah,
really enjoy. Yeah. So
I
I
was.
I enjoy the endurance. What I love about endurance is like when you work with your teammates, like you have four drivers for a 24-hour race, and that's really cool
hmm
because you create a very nice relationship with your teammates, and you guys have to work together to get the best result. Whereas an open wheel is a very individual type of racing, so it's just really you
Yeah,
and your teammates are big rivals. Um, so yeah, I enjoy open wheel. I love the way the open wheel car drives. The amount of downforce you get, it's light. I like it a lot. So for driving wise, I prefer open wheel.
yeah. I was actually just well, it's not open wheel, but I was well thinking of joining a 28-hour race,
Oh my god.
rental go-kart with some
Oh, that would
friends.
be cool, man. I have a
Yeah,
friend that actually my trainer that's I'm gonna go after here to go train. His name's
yeah.
Trey Shannon. He's from PitFit, and he has the world record on a rental car. He did a 24-hour race by
hmm
himself, so he never
So
stopped.
just 24 hours. Huh?
Yeah, no, he has the Guinness World Record.
No
So
way.
everyone else for the 24-hour race had like four teammates.
Yeah,
He stayed on track for 24 hours by himself,
that's
racing, doing
insane.
it all by himself. He was
Uh,
dead at the end. Yeah, he couldn't move his
how do
arms,
you?
like nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he
E-
did it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Even well, I go. I'm in a karting championship, not a road tax or anything, just
Okay,
rental
okay.
karting. But like even then, after an hour and a half, 2 hours of
Yeah.
racing, it's
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
tiring.
you already start getting
Yeah,
tired. Your forearms, your hands, like
exactly.
it's
And I'm
tough, man.
already
It's
dehydrated.
Yeah, you gotta hydrate,
It's
dude. When you do those endurance races, start
yeah.
hydrating the day before.
Any tips? Any
Yeah.
tips for if I join the 28 hours?
So if you do the 8-hour race, let's say get a good night's sleep the night before,
Mm-hmm.
and hydrate already like 2 days before. Start having more carbohydrates, like more pasta at night, and yeah, have like a big meal the day before, and you know, get a lot of electrolytes in your system. Don't overdo it because it's also not good to overdo it. But I recommend if you're getting serious about it, do like a sweat test so you see what your uh, sodium levels are, and then you can
Okay.
know exactly how much hydration your body needs.
Okay.
Uh, but I don't know.
I
No, I
don't
don't
know
need.
if I'll go that serious, but
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
um, and well, going back to a bit more of the technical aspect, do you prefer more of a slow car but predictable? Like you know that you're yeah, well, predictable, or a faster car that's well a bit more nervous at? snappy that might, yeah, might snap in a straight or in a mid corner or whatever.
I think I would prefer for sure a car that's more unpredictable and more nervous on entry
Really?
and oversteer. Yeah, I prefer that than having understeer. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely for a fast lap, like a qualifying lap, I'd rather
Yeah.
be struggling to control the car, but I'm able to, manage and keep my minimum speeds up in the slow speed corners. And when you have understeer, it's really hard to
Yeah.
manage. I feel like
And it wouldn't, in qualifying, you would rather that, but in a race, would you still rather that, or is a bit of a slower but
yeah,
more?
it depends. I mean, if it's a street course, then yeah, if the car is kind of unpredictable, it's easy to lose confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a bit more of like a neutral car. But
Yeah.
if it's like a road course, probably for sure towards oversteer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, how would you? No, I'm just thinking because I had a race this weekend, and
You're like, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I switched because it's rental karting, and you know how not all of them are the same. So
yeah.
you switch carts.
Oh,
Uh,
and there was a big difference, right, from one
yeah, there
cart
was
to the
there
other.
was ones where I was like going really fast, like really snappy, really fast but snappy, which I qualified fourth. But
Wow.
then,
Okay.
yeah, but then in the race, I kept losing control, so I went back to like seventh and ended there. And then there was another one which was really slow, and I qualified like 11th. But then ended up making positions,
In the
like gaining
race, yeah,
in the
yeah.
race
So
because I was doing consistent lap times without, you know.
So there is that trade off, it's
Yeah.
very fine line. I think it's very easy to like get it wrong for a race and then not have the pace. It's always better to kind of try and stick to a neutral balance, and when you go into a race to not make massive changes, because it's nicer when you do practice and qualifying you already kind of know what the balance is, so you already know what to expect. And if you go into a race with huge changes, sometimes it can go well and sometimes it can go really bad. So yeah.
Yeah. And well, I feel like one of the biggest challenges as a race car driver is translating sort of what you feel in the car to something useful for the engineers, right? Because when you're in the car, you feel maybe you're not as fast in a corner or something's off, but you don't, sometimes the data doesn't show it. Or so how do you translate that feeling into something the engineers can
It's
use?
tough. It's easy as sometimes, like the engineer and you can end up having a discussion about it, because like you're like, well, I feel this, I know this is an issue, and then the engineer looks at the data and he says like, well, I can't see it. So then it becomes like a debate, like either the engineer is going to listen to the driver and trust him, or then or just you two end up having an argument. So it's very easy in a
Yeah.
race weekend. That's why it's so important to have a good relationship with your race engineer, so that you two trust each other a lot. The trust is very important in a team. That's why
Mm-hmm.
that trust starts building from the first practice session you do. So making sure that your feedback is always good and correct and aligns with the data, making sure you're clear on the radio, and not making excuses. Because if you start making excuses early on, the engineer's gonna have difficulty trusting you. Because then when you do have a real issue and you say,
Mm-hmm.
"Look, I'm having an issue," he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if you actually have an issue or you're making an
Or yeah,
excuse."
exactly.
So it's all about trust, and yeah, I think it depends really on the relationship you have with that engineer,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it all starts from the first time you guys meet each other. So,
And
yeah,
so what happens when for engineers built a car that's like perfect, we're all about data when yeah, when the car is built all around data and like theoretically it should be faster here, what do you lose as the driver?
Yeah, I mean, there's
What
many
gets lost?
times like where the data says they have like the setup simulation and before a race, and the setup says, well, in this corner you need to have a car that's slightly more on the nose, so more oversteer for qualifying and race. But then let's say the driver doesn't like oversteer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the driver can't drive oversteer, but the setup says
It's it's
he
better.
it's
Yeah.
better, but it really depends on what each driver has a different driving style. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like what's the best of both worlds is when the setup simulations and driver feedback and stuff line up, and you're able to build the perfect car and build a car around the driver, because every driver has a different style. Some drivers like more understeer, some drivers like more oversteer, some
Mm-hmm.
drivers don't like oversteer at all. So if you put that setup and the guy doesn't like oversteer, he's going to be very slow, and he's going to be faster with a setup that the simulation thinks is worse. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it really depends. It's a bit, you have to get a bit from both worlds. So listen to the driver and see what the simulation says, and then, just try
See.
combining the two at the best.
Yeah. And what about driving styles? You've switched through so many categories. Do you think changing any categories has affected your driving style? Have you had to has it forced you to learn something new that wasn't you didn't really do in the previous series or
I think I've heard that happen with many drivers.
hmm
For me, I never really thought too much about it. I never like think, oh, if I'm driving this, it's gonna change my approach for the next series I'm driving. So for me, I've always focused on, like, especially on the simulator, what's really worked for me is like I drive every category I can see on iRacing, rather it be GT, NASCAR, dirt, Formula. Like I'll do everything. I try and be competitive in everything, and
hmm
that's always helped me a lot because that helped improve my adaptability a lot. So like, what's really good for me that's I've noticed helped me a lot is like I have experience in many different categories. So I noticed that being able to adapt quickly to any different car has been really important. So I think if you start focusing too much, like, oh, maybe this is gonna affect me on the next car I drive, it's no, this is good because I'm learning a new type of car, I'm learning a new type of driving style, and maybe I'll be able to apply this in the next car I drive. And if not, I will adapt and change my style. You have to be flexible. You have to know how to adapt because that's how great drivers are. Like there's many stories that Michael Schumacher would look at the data of his teammate, and he would see like, oh, in cops in Silverstone, right? Like this guy is braking here, he's doing 40 bar on the brake, and he's overlaying with
yeah
power, and he would go the next run and he would copy exactly what his teammate was doing, and he was able to match his teammate, so then he wasn't losing time there anymore.
hmm
So that's obviously a very unique skill. And I think that, not every driver has that, but you can definitely train that on the simulator,
yeah
like driving many different categories and just focusing on adapting quickly to any scenario. So yeah, I don't really focus too much on, oh, maybe if I drive this series, it's gonna affect my driving style, and then I'll be
hmm
slow on the next time I go back to another series.
it's something you've well adapted to, no, it's not something you're thinking about.
No,
And
you don't think about it. You think it's good. I'm driving this,
yeah
even though it has nothing to do with what I'm doing outside of open wheel, but maybe I can learn something from you. And if not, I remember how
hmm
to drive
yeah
fast an open wheel car. I mean, you can't. It's muscle memory. Your brain doesn't forget.
hmm and like you said, it doesn't really well punish you, no, it actually makes you a better, more competitive driver because you know
For sure, yes. I think it makes
about
you a more competitive driver, and it makes you a more adaptable driver. So then you're gonna improve. You're gonna be really good in very mixed conditions. So rain, slicks on the wet. So like that Verstappen is the best in the world because he jumps in any car, and he's
and
just as good as the best that's in that series, because he's just, I don't think he thinks about it too much. He just
yeah
goes and drives as fast as he can,
exactly.
and he adapts really fast to anything. So
hmm
that
if you
and Yeah.
If you have like a wide uh, variety of tools, having more doesn't really like make it worse. It just gives you, well,
Gets you
more tools to
better
do better. Exactly.
unless you start thinking in your head that, oh, it's gonna make me worse, because the power of the thought, like, and when you think of something, it's easy to start getting confused, and I
Hmm.
have seen many drivers that are like, oh, I don't want to drive this because then I'm gonna start, doing a technique that's not good on this car. But I'm like, dude, that shouldn't be an issue. I mean, you just change it in one lap to the other. You change your driving style, you adapt quickly, and that's it.
Well, I see in the background you have all your helmets and all your trophies. So,
Yeah.
well, I just wanted to show you a bit because you were in the Ferrari Driver
Yes.
Academy, and well, in the F4. So
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah.
this is
That's
a
the Kimi Raikkonen,
2018
right?
car.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
from the
crazy.
year you won
Italian F4. I
the
remember
Italian
that.
F4.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you talked with Kimi. Well, if you
I
did,
did actually, and when
if you
actually you
were,
see that trophy there, the FIA awards.
yeah,
I did the FIA awards I in 2018, and I have a picture with Kimi with that trophy.
yeah. You could probably count the amount of words he said with
I
your
just
hands, no?
I think it was just like one word. He said no, two. He said good job.
Classic. I
Or
was,
just good. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
I
With
remember that.
one hand, you can count the amount of
Yeah, it
words
was
he said.
actually the FIA awards that year was in Russia, in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Hmm.
And I think he had a few drinks on that award night, and he arrived a bit, I'd say a bit with a bit of alcohol in his system, which it was
Good
very
job.
funny. Yeah, yeah.
And well, I wanted to also ask you a bit, well, about how. Here I have my list of questions I prepared.
Oh, you're good, man.
So, which category do you think punishes the mistakes the hardest, uh,
I think
either in the short or long run?
I think I think I think F1, man, because F1 is the highest, the most
Hmm.
expensive. That, like, the cost of the car is very expensive, right? So I mean, you start having one crash, and then you have another crash, and especially now with the cost cap for the teams, it
Hmm.
really hurts the team if the driver has a big shunt, and it costs millions of dollars of repair. I think it's very, yeah, it really is. It can hurt the
And
driver a lot if he starts
yeah.
crashing a lot. The team will be like, man, even though he's quick, but he's costing the team a lot of money. It can start hurting the team, and they're gonna be like, man, I think we might have to change the driver. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think
And
F1 is at the top of the list there.
well, from the categories you've been in, not the mistakes more as in if you block your tires or what, or if you make a mistake that or hit
Oh,
maybe
okay,
a
yes.
barrier.
I think
Which one do you
yeah,
think is
the
affects
one that
performance the most?
yeah, the one for sure was F2. I think F2, like with the Pirelli tires, with locking the tire, very easy to flat spot, and then hard to recover, really, the tire. And as well, like traction out of corners. If you start wheel spinning a lot, then the rears could drop off very quickly. Like in a track in Bahrain, I remember it would drop off massively from one lap to another if you had like one or two big moments, and then you reach the cliff, and then you kind of drop off, and you can't really recover anymore. So I think F2 definitely was the biggest, definitely the most costly
Yeah.
if you were making mistakes in your driving.
And well, the grip of the tires again. Uh, F in the Formula ladder, F3, F2, you go to, well, purpose-built circuits where, well, F1 races and even street circuits like Baku or Monaco, where the asphalt is basically perfect. How does that differ from the road circuits in Indy Next, which, like, in I forgot the name, in
Yeah,
Nashville,
and
right?
yes, I
Yeah,
know.
that
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
bumps, or even though you haven't
It's
raced there, but how does it differ?
it's very different, man, because like in Europe, the street courses are actually like quite smooth because the roads are very like nice and they repave it and stuff. In the US, it's very bumpy. So yeah, it is. I think it makes it even more trickier in the US, the street courses, because you're arriving to the corner and like you're bumping, the car is moving around because of the bumps. You kind of have to do different lines approaching a corner sometimes because maybe the ideal line is too bumpy.
Hmm.
Um, so I think yeah, it's just more slightly more difficult. I think the street courses in the US compared to Europe. It's just more or like Baku or yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is it's
Monaco,
different.
whatever.
It's just more bumpy. It's you feel more on edge when you're doing the street courses in the US for sure.
And well, I was just talking with Pan American. My last episode was with a Panamericana winner, and I don't know if you know the
Wow.
race. Yeah,
Okay.
well, he's won it 3 times, and he's been racing it for 12 years, I think he said.
Okay, okay.
So, and I was just asking him exactly the same thing about the roads, how they, of course, it's just roads and highways and mountains. So, like how the roads were so different, and he told me it was horrible that the front end of his Porsche would end up all scratched, and how the grid
He
it
did the
suddenly changed.
rattling, right? The rattling.
Yeah, the rally.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And
He said that
so,
the US was the worst, right? Roads.
well, well, it was in Mexico, but yeah,
Oh,
it's
Mexico. Okay, okay.
which is even worse, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I lived in Mexico, and even driving there's a nightmare. So
I know. It can be tough. Yeah, my ex-girlfriend was from Mexico, from Guadalajara, and I would
yeah,
go there quite a lot. Like I love Mexico. I absolutely love Mexico. But yeah, there were some areas where the roads were definitely a bit rough. Similar to Brazil, you know,
yeah,
just like some holes on the roads, and then you have to kind of like drive
Latin
around.
America,
Yeah.
exactly.
But it
It's
may it gives the road style, you know. It's
exactly.
more fun like that.
I always say with my mom because well, she's used to it, but when I'm driving there, because I'm still like learning how to drive, and
Yeah.
we're on the highway, and it's like playing Mario Kart because you have to be dodging the
Yeah, yeah,
holes,
it
and then
give
people there also drive horribly, so you have to be dodging people.
it definitely gives it more character, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, well, I keep coming back to the questions I have here, but which car really gives you the most confidence when you're driving at the limit? Or
The car that gives me the most confidence, man, I don't know. I think like Andy, for me as a racing driver, any car that if the balance is good and you just yeah, you have the confidence to drive it at the limit. It doesn't matter what car it is, like
hmm
it's as long as you feel good with the balance. And it's hard to get the ideal balance, but there's few times where you do have the ideal balance and you can do a very good qualifying and be on pole position. So I think yeah, with any car, as long as you have the balance, in the window, they're very nice to drive on the limit. Like it doesn't matter if it's a GT car, open wheel car. Like I think if the balance is nice as a driver, it's always really cool to
and
experience the grip.
for
And
for you,
yeah,
how does that balance look for you a bit?
for me,
Of
it's
course.
always yeah, slightly towards oversteer. Good braking performance. Like I like having the confidence to attack the brakes. And I love carrying minimum speed in slow speed corners, so I need a good front grip. And then I manage the rear mid to exit. But I love having a strong front, um, and just yeah, being able to attack corners the way I think I'm a good braker. So I like being able to be aggressive on entry, and then having the grip mid corner to carry the speed that I want. So yeah,
So which cars more of the cars you've raced, which do you think is the most sensitive to a setup change? To even if it's a small setup change, like which one do you think would make the largest difference in?
I think the one was with the LMP2 car. Yeah,
Hmm.
like man, that car with even with the third element in the car. Like you change very little bit, like a 1 mil rear ride height, man, it can make a massive difference.
Really?
Yeah, it's very sensitive. Setup for that car is very difficult to get right. There's a lot of things you can change on the car. It's very open for all teams, and yeah, I'd say that's for sure the most difficult car to set up and the most sensitive car.
You keep answering like everything that I think is like I would have thought it was like maybe F2 or
Yeah,
maybe even Indy NXT, but you keep saying like it's
yeah,
endurance, it's the LMP2 or there was
yeah. The
another question.
LMP2 is definitely the most sensitive. I mean, F2 is not sensitive that much at all because it's more about tire prep and everything than
Hmm.
anything. So a lot of it has to do with the driver. The driver can really influence the balance of the F2 car depending on how he warms up the tires with brake bias and everything, power brake. Um, and then that kind of like overshadows really any setup changes because like I remember in F2 we would put the soft tire on, there'd be like so much grip. If you had the setup somewhat in the window, you could be up there fighting at for the top 5.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I'd say the P2 car was definitely the most sensitive. Yeah,
And I forgot what I was gonna ask. I just blanked out.
i'm
um,
gonna i'm gonna have to leave probably in like 5 minutes because I have
no,
a training session
no, don't
at
worry. So
at 1:45.
if
Yeah.
well, if you want to wrap it up, I don't.
Yeah, let's, man, it was honestly like, if not, I would stay speaking with you until 3 p.m.
Yeah,
It's been
I
very
could
nice.
also, I could pick
But
your brain all day too. So
yeah. But dude, it was very nice to talk with you and catch up.
yeah,
And I hope everything's going well and you get a very good grade for your assignment. You did a
thank you.
yeah, you did a great job. Is this a so basically what you're doing here is for school or is it
No,
for your podcast?
this is just for myself, cause,
Oh
well,
wow, okay, wow.
yeah, to be honest, I wanted to. Look, I'm telling you, I'm gonna study automotive engineering.
Yes.
So I wanted to. At first, I just wanted to maybe talk to some engineers, some drivers that maybe I knew, or and ask them like, what's it really like, the actual engineering part. So, and then
Dude,
I
you have
thought,
to, if you're passionate about it, go for it. You have
exactly.
to
So
be
then I
very
thought maybe I
motorsports
could,
is a small world. It's
yeah,
only the guys that are like absolutely crazy about it. You have to love it, man. It's a sport. It's a very unique sport and I think you're going to fit in very well.
thank you. So yeah, I was just, I'm doing this to learn for myself, because, well, I want to be in this world, and as a 17-year-old, what's better than to talk with people who live in it day to day? So
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
a
you're
bit of
doing the
why I
right thing,
started it.
man.
Yeah,
You're doing the right thing. Congrats. I'm
thank
sure
you.
you're going to learn a lot and yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have many interviews where I talk about this actually. So
Hmm.
this
That's
is
also a bit why I started it, because if you see driver interviews or interviews about motorsports, more, oh, the new car and the team politics, and it's
yeah, it's
more
they
about the
never go
hype of the
into
cars.
details about the car, because they're like, oh, no,
Exactly.
the interviewer's not gonna understand tire pressure or the different like. But
Exactly.
an
It's
engineer like yourself, a future race engineer, or you already understand a lot more than a normal
exactly.
person. So
So that's a
it's
bit why.
enjoyable to talk with you.
Exactly.
But
Thank you.
Jordy, it was nice to speak with you, bro. Let's keep
It,
in touch. And
yeah.
let's catch up again if you want to come to a race this year. If you're in the US,
Yeah.
let me know.
I'll
You're
I'll
more
let
than
you know.
invited to come.
And you're invited also to the podcast
Oh.
again whenever you want. It'd be a
Thanks, bro.
pleasure.
I appreciate it.
So
We'll keep in touch.
we're gonna end the video here.
Okay.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Enzo, so much, and hope to have you back.
Yes, for sure. It'll be a pleasure to be back, and you did a great job, Jordy, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you.